did a whole lot. She is a cosmetologist, not just an actor. She is a veteran broadcaster and journalist. So you can imagine.
So we have a grandmother on the seat this afternoon. It's a grandmother.
But in a way, I'm somehow scared now to interview her. When a junior colleague is interviewing a senior colleague, you must be extremely.
You play through it so that all the things won't be that obvious. Just play through it like you're playing with mommy or grandma at home. So that's the secret this afternoon.
Exactly. But of course, I know that she's going to pardon me if I make any mistake, because today we actually it's a family program. Yes, she's going to pardon us. It's a family program actually, and of course we're going to be seeing her as a mother this afternoon. She's going to be talking to us from the aspect of the angle of a mother, from the angle of a wife, and of course angle of a sister. Her experience, her challenges, in life generally, because that is actually what this edition of the program, My Story, is all about. So, fasten your seatbelt, get your families together, get a very nice cold, okay, no, you don't need to take anything cold now, but mild, soft drink, just for you to enjoy.
And a big bowl of popcorn.
Corn.
If you want to go look at
because the flight is about to take off. Yes. All right. You're welcome to the program. It's MummyHood with Aditya. You like 103.1 FM. By now, I'll just have to let the cat out of the bag. Today we have on the program a special guest and of course July edition of My Story guest on the program, Taiwo Ajai-Lycett. She is an acclaimed international actor, and she was born on the 3rd of February 1941. Taiwo Ajai-Lycett, let me say, she is an officer of the Order of the Niger. There's another one there that she's going to explain. I don't know it, but I have it as FSONTA. So she's going to explain when the time comes. She is she launched into an intensive training program in singing, dance, voice production, and acting technique at the City Literary Institute and the Guildhall School of Music and Drama, all between 1968 and 1974. She started a stage career in 1971 at the Dublin Theatre Festival. She went on to appear in some of the world's famous theatres, including Royal Opera House, Covent Garden, the Hampstead Theatre, and the Bristol Old Vic. Her film appearances include Sydney Pointers, A Warm December, and the popular television series Some Mothers Do Have It. Since returning to Nigeria, she has appeared in several notable TV and stage productions, including Tunde Kelani's Dazzling Mirage and Tinsel. She was recently nominated for both AMVCA and AMA for a role in the movie Olobiri. She currently runs a coaching and speech school for actors. Taiwo Ajai-Lycett, live and journal 103.1 FM. You're welcome to MummyHood.
You're welcome, Mom.
It is my honor. It is indeed a privilege to be here. Thank you very much. After hearing all that about me, I just fine tune is what I call your dissertation. My introduction, my career actually started in 1966.
Wow.
I was already working for years before I went to Edinburgh, to the Dublin International Festival, and then later Edinburgh International Festival. If you're developing as an actor in Europe, and it is an international festival, but generally in the UK, if you haven't attended Edinburgh International Festival, you really haven't done anything. Or let me put it in a more positive way. If you've attended, if you've played at the Edinburgh International Festival, you really are, you have promise, shall we say. And hopefully you will realize that promise. I met Jimmy Shulanke at the Edinburgh International Festival, and we all know how big he is. So it's a big place. Yes, I started in 1966. My debut was with Wole Soyinka's The Lion and the Jewel,
Yeah.
the premiere of
It's
Lion and the Jewel at the Royal Court Theatre
In London.
in London,
Yeah.
Sloane Square, London. That's how I started.
Okay.
Where we'll probably delve into that in time. But I was a civil servant actually at that time. I wasn't an actor at all. I didn't. It wasn't my dream to be an actor.
Wow.
I didn't set out to be a performer. Of course, I loved films and theatre and music and everything. So I used to go to that. Starting from before I left home here, we used to go to see Ugunde, Memorial Hall, and all that. I used to go to see the film at the cinema houses in Yaba. So I grew up in the Idumeta.
Okay.
So I love films, Indian films, but mostly Hollywood films. But it never occurred to me, it never entered my mind at all that I was an actor. That was in fact, I wanted to be a lawyer actually.
Wow.
And so in England, that's what I was hoping that I would be. And I was working, in order to do that, of course, I had to finance my education. So I was doing night school. And I decided that I'll do secretarial work. You can learn to type, you can work in an office and everything. It's the fastest route, I thought, to earning a living. So I went to night school, started typing, learning to type. I applied to the post office, which is a part of the civil service. They were recruiting, so I applied, and they employed me, sent me for training.
Okay. Now, I'm going to start from. You mentioned something that when you were growing up, you like going to watch films and all that. Now let's go back. You were born in Lagos, and you said you grew up in Ebutemeta. I actually grew up in that area too. But I want to growing up around that period, those years, what was it like? Apart from going to watch films, what were some of the things that the momentums that you had?
Well, when we were growing up, quite frankly, I don't know that we had some great ambition to the sort of ambitions that we have here, where people just want to have money.
All of a sudden.
The ambition that those of us who were young had was that we had a good education. That was paramount. You were consumed with your education, going to school, passing your next exams, doing elementary school, then going to secondary school. Then, when you finish your secondary school, starting to think what careers are you going to have. In those days, we didn't have universities as you have here now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember, it was in the 1955 or 54 that we had the first university in Ibadan. So there was a shortage of institutions for people for their education.
Okay.
So most people would go into the professions. You went to teacher training college, you went to train as a nurse, stuff like that, until we had the first university. So most people traveled abroad to get higher education. So I think, I can't speak for everybody else, but when we were growing up, you were consumed with just getting an education. Where that took you, you didn't know, but you knew that you got, and that's the first thing you got, a fine education from which you
That perhaps pave a way for
wherever your destiny lay.
Okay.
So then maybe we were, what can I call it? I wouldn't even say intellectually, we were lazy. Is it imagination that we were lucky? No, I don't think so. I thought that it was that we were putting one foot in front of the next. You know, we were doing the first things first. It means that we learned what priorities were at the time. What your first priorities were, what of greater value to you at that time. I think our parents did a good job in instilling.
So whether you're at home or abroad, your priorities stand.
Yeah, the values were solid at the time. But then I suppose the world intruded, life happened and everything completely changed.
Okay. I'm going to digress a bit, and I want to bring it home now. I think about 2 weeks ago or thereabouts, we had an edition of the program. We were talking about cross-cultural marriage and something like that. And of course, you happen to find yourself in this kind of situation. Now, we know that Africans naturally would not want their children to be married off to a foreigner. So what was the experience like when you happened to fall in love with a white man?
But this is a universal thing.
Okay.
Those over there would not
Will
like
not
their
even
children
like-
to
okay.
marry a foreigner.
Okay.
Everybody's exclusive
Okay.
to themselves. That's the natural thing.
Okay.
Because it's the fear of the unknown for a start.
Of course.
It's the same reason why you'll be worried if you are Ijesha, your child marrying an Yoruba man. Because you don't understand Yoruba, the culture.
Yeah.
And you don't know how your child's going to transit into that culture.
Okay.
So it's a very natural
A thing.
uh,
So how were you
situation.
able to cross that hurdle?
By just following your, dancing to your own song, following your heart.
Okay.
Because when you do fall in love, you notice that love doesn't have color, doesn't have any specific culture. It has a culture all of its own. It doesn't dance to any other tune except that spiritual tune, which is mind meeting mind, spirit meeting spirit. And it's irrelevant where they come from, where two people fall in love. And the major thing about people marrying, have you noticed? You're not going to marry somebody who is in Kano, right? That you don't know, that you've never met.
Exactly.
You're never going to marry somebody in NNPC down the road. No, customs down the road. You're not working with them. You don't know them. You generally would fall in love with people who are around you.
I think technology has changed that. Technology has changed that. People get to marry via the internet and all that.
Exactly. It's still the same.
It's still
Because
the
they're
same.
via the internet, because they are meeting there.
Okay.
They see one another. They talk to one another. They interact. In other words, where I was going was that you get to marry somebody or fall in love, not marry necessarily, fall in love with somebody with whom you interact.
Okay.
You
Someone
interact
you're
with them.
accessible to.
I beg pardon?
Someone you're accessible to.
Yeah. So that's how it works.
Okay. And your parents didn't have an option that time, or that you just were able to convince them.
But by the time I married a foreigner, I was a grown woman. I was what? 32, 33, something.
Okay.
And I was away. Okay, my parents were here in Lagos, I'm abroad.
Okay.
And I was away, so I just told them. But for my own sake, being a proper Nigerian, a proper Yoruba girl,
Okay.
because Nigeria is made up of very many nations. Proper Nigerian. My brother was working at the ILO, International Labour Organization in Geneva. So I took my intended to meet him. Because that's how we do it. You can't just marry anybody without your people knowing about that. I couldn't, I never got to that because I like our tradition. You know, you can't marry an entity because there has to be an entity if you can just find him and just marry him and nobody else knows about it. I know it's not anybody's business, but being a Yoruba woman, I'm that backward, very traditional, very orthodox about that. I think it's about roots. I think it's about acknowledging your roots and about knowing your roots and respecting your roots and honoring your roots. I like to honor my roots. So I took Tom. His name is Tom Lycett.
Yes.
Well, you notice I said yes. He never died, so he's dead a long time, 24 years, but he lives as far as I'm concerned. So I took him to meet my brother. Even though my parents weren't here, I took him to meet my brother. And that satisfied me that at least he had checked him out. Okay. And so that was it. So the tradition is there that people don't want other people to marry outside the caste, the caste or caste or whatever. But his family embraced me. And my family never expressed any dissatisfaction, any whatever. My father never ever chastised me, nor my mother.
Okay.
But then
So you have understanding parents.
Oh yes.
Okay. All right. Now let's go back to now. You as a wife, you were into so many things, right from 1966, and of course down the line till you came back home. How were you able to marry your home with your career?
First of all, you have to have a husband who understands what you're doing, who shares your dreams. There's a tendency when you marry for most cultures, especially the traditional cultures like ours, to believe that the woman's ambitions have to be subordinated to the man. And the man feels, well, if I say you sit at home, you sit at home now. I had a husband who appreciated what I was doing, who believed in what I was doing, and thought I was the best thing since sliced bread. And so, between us, we juggled.
All right.
We managed to cover for each other and keep our eyes on the ball. It's about all I can say about that. I never slowed down. I just got it going. But it is a fact that when I married a Nigerian, I was married to a Nigerian before. And the Nigerian, we have to say this, and the Nigerian said that he was studying for both of us in England. And I said, well, when we leave home, Nigeria, to go abroad, we went in search of the golden fleece. You went to study. And we were raised in my family to say you are female, you are male. I went to study. That he couldn't study for me, I have to study. So there was rancor. He didn't like that. He thought I wasn't listening to him. And if I finished work, I went to the library or I went to night school. I went to night school. I financed myself. I went to night school. Wow. I paid for his education. I was working so that he could go to school. Okay. And he didn't see why I was worrying myself trying to study. Okay. I said, well, the other friends' wives were working and having babies, and I said I didn't want that. Okay. I wanted to have came here to have an education, and I was going to have an education. Well, that created rancor. Okay. And I got battered. I got badly treated. Then I decided that wasn't work for me. I wrote to my mother. Naturally, my mother said, you have to stay in your husband's home and everything. Well, I was in the soup. And as I said, I had my dreams of what I wanted my life to be. Okay. Yeah. And whatever it was going to be education anyway. As I said, when we were growing up, all we knew was to have an education, to have a good education. And if somebody now telling me that it wasn't necessary, it wasn't important, I couldn't accept that. So I let him finish his course, and he went into an internship. It was an accountancy degree was doing. He went into internship, and I packed my bags, and I rented a flat with another girl in the department.
Okay. I'm going to ask that, was the marriage eventually blessed with any children?
No. Oh. Because by the time we were talking about all you're going to be doing is having babies, I wasn't going to have any of that. I'm not a baby machine. I went to England to study, and it wasn't just going to be about babies. If we could not agree that, okay, do this and then we have a baby and everything, but no, I was not going to have an education. And so I knew immediately, instinctively, as I was saying, I live with my instincts. I never second guessed my instincts. I knew instinctively that this marriage wasn't going anywhere, and I decided that I wasn't going to, because when you have children, you have a responsibility.
Yes.
You cannot have children and then start divorcing and start running around and mess their life up because they didn't ask you to be. They didn't ask to bring them here.
Okay.
So that's a sense of responsibility that I thought I had for myself. Not having children, where when we're having all this rancor and whatever, these children are just going to be messed up.
Okay.
So there were no issues, and I didn't intend for any issues to be. Therefore, if I had a relationship in those days, which I didn't have any at all, because I divorced my husband, and the judge wanted to award me alimony, and I said I didn't want any alimony because it wasn't a fight. It wasn't. I didn't want a revenge. It wasn't. We just didn't agree on the journey that we set out together with.
Okay.
But you know, it was supposed to be something else. Now I'm in the marriage. You say it cannot be.
Okay, so from the outset, it had been laid down what and what
We will do, and then once I got into it, you now back down and said, "This is what I was going to do." Well, that's a betrayal for me, and I can't live a life where I cannot trust where my mate is.
Okay.
All right. Did you remarry?
Oh, I remarried.
Okay.
That's my. Then I remarried, and then I remarried Tom Lycett.
Oh.
I married Tom Lycett, and I knew therefore that if you don't close one door, another one is not going to open.
Oh.
If things are not going very well, but you have done your best, you don't just walk out of any marriage. Just don't walk out of a marriage. It has to be serious for you to say it's not working. Many problems will have in marriage, you can together work them out. But if it's as fundamental as somebody's life, there's no compromise on that one.
Okay.
So
was there any child in that
No.
marriage?
as I was saying, in Tom Lycett's
Yes.
life, we had 5 children.
Wow.
Because he was married before, not from me.
Oh,
He was married before.
Okay.
So, no, we had 4 children, because I lost one. We had 4 children. They had 3 children. I have 1. I have a son. Because I was long married, before I even married that kid. You wanted to know about my life? Well,
I just want to know about the mother aspects. The mothering aspect, yes.
Yes. So I have a son.
Okay.
Who is an old man now. Well, he's a senior citizen, he's 60 or something like that. So I have a son, and as I said, in those days we went off to get an education. It was my intention to get an education, get back home, be working, so I can now start raising my child. And then somebody said, no, I couldn't do. My husband, father of Debo, we were married actually. I was married at 16 and a half.
Wow.
My husband died at the Lano train disaster. I don't know whether you guys know anything about that. There were students returning what used to be Zaria College, which is now Amadu Maddy University. There was a huge tragedy where students were coming back from long vac.
Okay.
They were going back from long vac, and then there was this train disaster, and he died in Bath. So I was a widow at 17, something like that. Yes. So it's incredible. And so I started out, how am I going to live my life? What's going to happen with me and my son and everything? And then I got into this marriage who promised me this. And then as soon as I get in there, it's changed. And I said, well, no. The journey continues.
Okay, let me cut you short by asking, with all that you have said, and of course, I know that we were talking on our way here, and you mentioned certain things, and it kind of spurred me on to keep on believing and keep on dreaming. And of course, once I get my hands on what I want to do, I should just follow my dreams, and one day I will realize that everything will come out. Okay, I wanted to just speak to our youth. How to stay. We have I told you that one of the reasons why MummyHood came to the fore is just because I interact with youth, and whatever I get from them is more or less like they're not prepared. They don't worry about the future. And then you came on and you mentioned something like the single motherhood that is trending now. I just wanted to talk to them as a mother.
Well, first of all, it is very sad that our youth are like this. And those of us who are their mothers, we have to take responsibility for the way they've turned out. Because if we have the youth that you cannot see their future, let's be frank with one another. The past is gone. The future, we don't know anything about it. But the present is all we have. And that's why it's called the present. It's a gift to us to do something with. Because it is what we do in the present now that's going to translate to the future. Now, if our youth are despondent and cannot see clearly, they're confused, I'm not surprised. What kind of education have we given them? What kind of imagination? I mean, because a good sound education develops your imagination, develops your spirituality, develops your dream life. What kind of education do they have? Now, if they don't have the sort of education that makes you dream of a better tomorrow, why are we surprised? All I can say is we have to continue to educate them. Maybe programs like this will make them see that there is a lot in the future, but you prepare the future now. What you do, what happens in the future is informed by what we do with our lives now. What is happening to me now is obviously coming from my past. We must plant seed, but the tragedy is that people want to harvest where they haven't sown.
I was going to ask that because you have emphasized values now, but it's like it's not available in our generation, and it's like the media, the society is not helping us. So how do we marry that and then ensure that these values are kept and transferred from one generation to another? The society is not helping.
The society is not helping, but who are the society? We are society. We are the country. So once we have, I always feel that if we have a problem, once you can identify the problem, you're halfway to solving that problem. We now know that we have a problem about clearly seeing the future, what our future will look like. At the moment, we can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But if we know that we create our now, we create our future, well, we can turn it around by what we're doing now. In the past, we had thought that material